Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing the National Redline Day, where a few of the YouTube channels are getting together to celebrate Hot Wheels' birthday, and everybody's going to be restoring a red line. It doesn't have to be from the first year like this one, but this is what I'm going to be working with. It's a 1967 Custom Camaro, first year, and from the remaining of the paint you can see that it used to be aqua, Spectra Flame Aqua. This is a US made car, right? In the past I've actually done all the Sweet 16 from Hong Kong, and I'm currently working on the Sweet 16 made in the US. So this is Hong Kong. This is also Hong Kong. Orange, creamy pink. Those are the name of the colors. Look at the difference on the base. And of course the other big difference is the color of the windshield. Hong Kong cars have a blue tinted windows, while US made cars have a slightly tinted clear window. There's other differences inside. I want to put these two away. They have their own video, and we are going to open the car. I've already pre-drilled, as you can see. I'm using 172 bun head screws. All the tools that I use to do all that process are going to be linked below, and I'll be back. Okay, I have my screwdriver here. This is one of the biggest differences when dealing with a US made cars. The axle is split in half. I've removed them before, but it's not recommended. I've done other red lines where I've actually had to remove that axle. Here is the windshield, which I'm going to need to restore. And this is the casting. Like you see, I have some, the cowl here is bent inwards, so I need to fix that without breaking it. So it's going into the paint remover, and I'll be back once that's done. Alright, I'm back. Here I have 50% water, 50% lime away. Put this to the side. This is the base. Once you put a car in there or the base, you cannot leave it there for more than 4 minutes. I usually take it out before that. This is how the car came out of the paint stripper. You can see that basically all the sink plating is completely gone. So it does have a lot of toning. I am going to try to clean it a little bit, so I'm going to place it inside the solution, and in this other container I have Easy Off, the blue one, not the yellow one. I have decanned it, so that means I just sprayed some of that in here, and you can see the windshield is here. See that paint? So that has been in there for like 40 hours, I think. Usually you should leave it there for at least 24 hours. It all depends on what type of paint it's in the windshield. This is looking like it's enamel, and even though it's enamel, it still came off. The little bit that's left, I will take it out when I polish the windshield. You see it still has a little bit, but it already looks 1,000 times better. Look at that. So all I gotta do is clean this front lip here, and this has a little bit of paint here, so I'm gonna throw this, you know what, I'm gonna throw it back in there. And I'm in no rush. I still got a lot of time before I have to publish this video, so I'm gonna stick this back in there, and I'll check on it later on. Alright, so I put in there the base first. Make sure you're wearing gloves. You're gonna need a brass brush. This is not brass, but I want to make sure that it's not turning back black like the body. See, this is removing that old paint. That's okay. We're gonna repaint all of that. Notice that I have the wheels on, and that's to protect the small bearing. When I'm ready to install the new ones, then I'll remove them. Alright, so that's looking better. Let's put it back inside the solution here. Let's take out the car. I found that the US made cars tend to give me a lot more problems with toning. So I don't know if it's like the video cut off. I don't know if the problem is the metal, the way the metal was made, or if it's the zinc plating. Either way, this is cleaning up very nice. You could do this with a manual brush, handheld brush, but if you have the tool, why not use it? You see the different color on the hood here? That usually happens a lot too with US made cars. It's like they use a different combination of metals to create the hood. Alright, this is looking very, very nice. The way it was, all dark, it would have been impossible to polish. But if you're into that kind of thing, the way it is right now, it'll polish up very nice. It has a lot of paint here in the headers, and it doesn't want to come off. So I might have to put a little bit of that, a small dab of paint remover, finish it off. Alright, let me put it again just a little bit longer. This video, I'm not gonna cut this part out. Sometimes people think that this is done in 2 seconds. Sometimes I like to leave it in just so people can see everything that's really needed. Alright, so that's good enough. I'm going to wash it with soap. I am going to apply a little bit of paint remover here and over here. And I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So I washed it with dish soap, soapy water. And I can see that here on the roof, it doesn't seem to be clay wear. It just happened to be when they made the casting. So it's damaged. Not that bad because you can't feel it. Now, in the past, I used to polish the cars. I don't do that anymore because you can see that even though I cleaned it up with the brass brush, it has different tones here, and that it will eventually come out again, and the car would look horrible. So polishing a Redline is, for me, at least for me, it's out of the question. Now what I do is I use this product from the Redline shop. It's called the base coat. You can see it's been sitting for a while, so it's separated. But you shake it and look, and it gives you a similar finish to what's called a zinc plating, right? Now you have to make a decision. I do not like to sand a red line. I don't want to remove anything. Now, if there's like really deep damage, what I would use is the duplicolor metallic coat, right? I will bake that in an oven for about 170 degrees Fahrenheit for a couple of minutes. Wait until it cools down, and then I'll sand that. I'll sand that base coat, slowly. And if I have to reapply, then I'll keep reapplying it, and then I'll use this, because the duplicolor base coat, the Spectraflam paint doesn't look quite the same. I find that this looks more like they used to when they were original. The duplicolor, it looks good, but it's a little bit different. I mean, since I've had both cars, it looks a little bit different. Now, I have my sanding pads here. I think these go from 1800 all the way to 30,000. I think this one is a 30,000 one. I think this brown one is the most aggressive one, because it doesn't look that bad. This is soapy water now. It's not the same solution. I'm gonna clean it up just a little bit. I want to make sure that at least is smooth, because once I paint with that base coat, if it has like different levels, it'll look really bad. Now, I'm not really applying any pressure. I'm just trying to remove some of the plate wear. I don't want to remove what was there originally, except for the roof. I just want to make sure that it's smooth, because the roof is the biggest part of the car, and if it's not smooth, the paint is not going to look right. You can see, I can feel just a little bit of a bump. Now, another thing is, if I were to polish this, you can see that the hood is a completely different color. If I zinc plate it, I haven't had that much luck, and the hood will still look different. It just doesn't, the zinc plating just doesn't it doesn't even everything out. Now, there's a lot of wear here on this edge here, so I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit as much as I can. So you gotta remember, this is not gonna be a toy anymore. And I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty beat up here in the front. I want to clean that up, because that base coat is not really that thick, and I don't want to apply it thick, because if you apply it thick, then you lose these body lines, and I don't want to lose that. And you have to be careful if you're sanding in the back. You don't want to delete that. see. There is a slight, just a little bit. Let me look at the front here. This actually did a lot. So this metal, this old metal, is not the same as the new car. This is a lot more fragile. Newer cars are a lot stronger. So when you get one of these, that's what basically makes it special, that it has been able to survive for 53 years. Do you believe that? 53 years. Alright, so I think that's good enough. You can also use a Scotch-Brite here, Scotch-Brite pad. This will help to remove any, well, just the slightest toning. But the good thing that this is not really removing any metal. It's just cleaning the car. And another thing, make sure that you clean very thoroughly the inside. It's very important. If you, all that toning that I had on top, it's also important that you clean the inside, because if you don't clean the inside, it'll eventually crawl outside and damage the paint job. That's when you paint this car, you have to paint the inside as well as the outside. You want everything covered. That will reduce the risk of toning. Now that base coat does a lot better than zinc plating, but if you don't do it right, you will also get toning. So to prevent that, you want to make sure that when you're painting, you paint the inside of the car as well as the outside. Alright, so you can still see a mark, but I don't want to keep removing. I'm gonna fix the cowl here in just a bit. Let me get this moved to the side, and I want to check this. This didn't have that much paint. I think if I use my X-Acto knife here, I might be able to get it off. There you go. Look, came off immediately. Throw it in the soapy water. Got my brush over here. This is another difference with the Hong Kong cars. The interiors are different. In the Hong Kong cars, the steering wheel is not part of the whole thing. It's a separate piece. So when you're doing this part here, you gotta be very careful that you don't lose it. That happens a lot on the Diora. The Diora has a small piece, separate piece for the steering wheel, and it gets lost. So this looks very nice. Let's put this to the side. Get the windshield. That EC off has been in there I want to say for over a year, and it's still good. Okay, so I'm slightly using the X-Acto knife here to scrape it off. I've seen other people use brake cleaner, but I prefer this method. Now if I leave this here for like another day, it'll probably take the remaining paint, but I think that's good enough. I think that got it. Everything I'm using here will have a link to the product either on eBay or Amazon. They're affiliate links. So there's a tiny bit of paint. So that paint was really strong. I have a complete video on how to restore a windshield, so I'm not gonna explain the different things that you have to do here, but I still see. I want to remove as much as possible because I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the garbage truck is driving by, picking up the garbage. I think this video is gonna be long. It has green paint on this side. Yeah, I think that's good. Let me wash it again. It's in surprisingly very good condition, this windshield. It's amazing. Alright, the next step, I'm just going to use plastic X, my wires. And that's because it's in very good condition. If it wasn't like this, I'll probably have to use a lot more steps. So I have my Dremel again, slow speed with a cotton ball adapter here. Sometimes they disappear from Amazon. They're a specific kind. If you use the wrong one, you're gonna damage the windshield. So if they're available, I'll put a link down below. So I like to do it like this backwards. That way when it starts kicking out, it'll do it towards the front. Whatever scratches I put in by scraping the paint, this will end up taking it out. When you're dealing with a car that has open windows like this, usually the inside of the windshield gets scratches also, because a lot of things can go inside the car, and over time it'll get scratched up. Let me get a different rag here. Look at that. It looks brand new to me. There's slight scratches here on the top, in the front here, but I really can't do anything about that unless I really go to town sanding, and then I don't want to do that. It looks good enough. These cars were not perfect from factory, so you got to keep that in mind. Check it out. Amazing on how it looked. And see how it looks now. Alright, so I'm gonna paint this with the base coat. Probably not today, but I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Next day. We're gonna fix this part over here called the cowl, I believe. So I have a sock filled with rice. I have this lightly used brass brush, but I'm going to be using the back of the handle. Remember what I said. You got to be careful that you do not go past the point that you need. So, and this metal is very, very fragile. Right. We're gonna go slowly. And we're gonna keep checking. Almost there. Make sure you don't do this with something metal. If it's plastic, it'll work better. I think that looks pretty good. Let's set it in there. And I'm going to tap it now. Yeah. That's about as good as it's going to get. All right. Let's try to fix the alignment here. This tool is built specifically for this. You grab the axle from the back and you bend it. It does not have to be perfect. Because you got to remember, this car is 53 years old, and the small bearing inside has a lot of play because it's 53 years old. So the important thing is that the wheel looks straight once the car is on the ground. And notice that I have not taken out the old wheels or tires. I like to do that at the end. It seems that I have some carpet here. Like I said, everybody usually cuts all this part out, but I believe that sometimes you just gotta show it, because a lot of people think that it takes 2 seconds. I mean, I'm not taking half an hour here, but you gotta be careful. You don't want to break that axle, because you break that axle, pretty much done. Although I know how to remake it. Like I said, I think I said at the beginning, I've taken those type of axles out before, but it takes a while. You can see this one, because of the play, once I put the new tires on, I'll be sure. And of course, you gotta take into consideration the weight of the actual car. I think that's good enough. Vallejo surface primer, which is black, and it dries real quick. Fine tip brush. Let me do the back first. I'm going to try not to get paint where the taillights are supposed to go. If you get paint on the taillights, it's not a big problem. But you can see I got paint on the bumper. And I'm gonna have to go over this twice. This paint, when it dries, it's pretty strong. That's why I like using it. Otherwise, you're gonna have to, if you use something that is not strong enough, you're gonna have to clear coat. And again, it does not have to be perfect, because it was not perfect from the factory. This paint will dry flat, so I like it because it'll look factory. Now for the red, I have this red Sharpie oil base. Shake it. And very, very carefully. Let me get a toothpick. I always try to grab everything before I sit down, but I always forget something. So once you can blow on it, once the paint dries, because it's an acrylic paint and it's still soft, using the tip of the toothpick, you can remove any excess. Let me clean up the border here of the tail light. I don't remember if that border was painted black or red, but I like it metal. It separates the color of the red and the black, and in my opinion, it makes it look better. Let me get this little area right here. Took out too much. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna get any better than that. Let's do the front grille. This primer will get, like I said, it will get stronger as the time goes by. And it will dry flat. And it's very thin, so it will go down into the little crevices. Beautiful. So let's get the toothpick again. I don't think I messed up, but just a little tip right here. Yep, that's good enough. So I'm gonna paint and I'll be back. Check it out. It's still warm. Just took it out of the oven. It has about 5 coats. But notice how everything is the same color now. I still have a little bit of the damage here on the roof, but I'm happy with that. It's a factory damage, so it was not there by me or by Playware or anything like that, so I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna let this dry and I'm gonna paint it, and the next thing you're gonna see is the final review or reveal. Final reveal. I'll see you later. All right, let's put on the new wheels. I'm gonna be using deep dish. US made cars supposed to have a wheel like this. See the difference? But this is a modern one with a chrome interior. In reality, it should be dull gray like this. So these are, I believe, they're Bright Vision, so they make deep dish dull gray, I guess, to try to do a US car but still use the deep dish. I'm just gonna use Hong Kong deep dish style because that's the the look that I like, right? Deep dish wheels, I believe, were only available in Hong Kong made cars early runs. So I use this tool here to cut them off. You could try and remove them, but if the wheel is all messed up, it's not really worth it. Cut it. Cut it. Cut it. And cars use different size. There's 3 different sizes. There's small, which is like this, medium, and there's an even bigger, a large. So the tool you can use for this, you put it behind, right? The reason is, on some cars, you see how the tip of the axle pokes through. When you're putting it on, that might break the wheel and hurt your finger. So you put it like this, and now you put the new wheel on. Make sure you're doing it right. Don't get confused and put the median in the front, because it won't come off. You're gonna have to cut it out. And now it's just basically a repeat 4 times, and play with the alignment a little bit more. This is a bit difficult to do on camera. Gotta find the perfect angle. Whoop, wrong one. See what I mean? There you go. Let's do the ones in the back. If that bearing has it's worn out, the new wheel, the new tire might have a little play. So you got to keep that in mind. You're dealing with a very old car. And there you go. We have new shoes. All right, let's put it together. Alright guys, let's take a quick look at what we started with. You can see that this car was pretty beat up, barely any original paint left. It had a crazy 2-tone paint job. Maybe it was done with enamel paint back in the days. Gotta remember, this car is 53 years old. And here is the final product. So as you can see, I went back to the original color, aqua. It looks great, rolls great. It looks 1,000 times better with the deep dish chrome wheels. It's amazing. Look at the roof. You can still kind of see the damage that was there, but it's an original. It's from the factory. It's very difficult to get the wheels to sit perfectly on these cars, because you got to remember the little bearing inside has a lot of play. So you either keep playing with it and you break it, or you learn to love it just the way it is. For me, it looks beautiful. now I could join my other Sweet 16 Camaro. This is a Hong Kong. See the difference? And my other Hong Kong. This is a perfect example here. This one was polished. You can see that the toning is coming back. This is why I no longer polish the cars. This one I redid, and it has the Redline Shop base coat. This car was in pretty bad shape. You could still kind of see all the damage, but these Camaros are not easy to come by. So make sure you take a look at everybody's video today. The 3 blind mice, the 4 horsemen, and everybody else that's gonna participate in the national, what is it called? The National Redline Day, May 18th. It's the official day that Hot Wheels birthday. So put it down in your calendar. May 18th. Make sure you go check everybody else video. Thank you for watching. Peace out.